phone call. 622-9622 is the number to call if you have any questions about your grass, your gardens, your flower beds, your trees, your bushes, anything that is horticultural based and grows in your yard, in your garden, anything. Carol Ann knows, or she knows where to find
We'll find
the
it
answer.
out. We'll find it out if we don't get it off the top of the head.
So I got another email.
Right.
And I thought it was kind of, I thought it was a cut and dry email. And you go, no.
Yeah.
It's something we have to talk about.
Yeah.
Dr. Richard Cardinale, who runs the, he's part of the museum, the Marion County Museum of History and Archaeology, Natural History and Archaeology. He sent a message to me saying, ask her. He had somebody give him a bunch of different fertilizers that were still in date.
Somebody cleaned out the shed and said,
the
hey,
fertilizers are still within date.
Right. Yeah. Fertilizers don't really go out of date.
Well, and he said one of the bags was rose fertilizer.
Right.
And he has no roses. He has no desire to get a rose garden.
Right.
But can is that for only roses, or can it be used for other flowers?
It can be used for other flowers. It can be used in the flower bed for annuals, perennials, hibiscus, anything I'd say that was a blooming plant. I don't know if I'd put it on my liriopes or anything like that, just because they have a tendency to have a little bit higher second number than.
But lilies, any kind of blooming lily,
anything that's blooming. You got hibiscus. You've got anything that's a blooming plant.
I remember there's two ladies, sisters, that lived at the front of the subdivision when I was growing up as a kid. And they had, and it was lilies, but I don't know what kind of lilies, but they had their whole front, and these ladies would come out with their hats on and their little gloves, and they were two sisters, and they always had their sip and drink.
Oh,
but the kids weren't allowed to drink the sip and drink.
No.
And we would go sit in their yard, and we'd watch them garden and everything, and they had different lilies. And they were bulbs. They would give me bulbs and take to mom so she could plant them and everything. And they were red and they were yellow and
Probably
they were orange. And I'm sure they were. Once I got older,
some of the Asiatic lilies maybe. Just so
their yard was amazing.
Yeah, because it would bloom at different times and different colors and different heights. Yes.
Yeah. And people would come to look at their garden and everything.
Sure.
You'd have walking past through it and everything. But I always thought those bulbs. I'm leery of any kind of bulb plant.
Okay.
Because there's this thing called kudzu. And kudzu's a bulb.
And air potato.
Kudzu's a bulb.
Yeah.
And people say, well, here's how you get rid of kudzu. You cut it back or you burn it. And No. The only way to get rid of kudzu is get that bulb out of the ground.
Get you a pig.
Pig will get it up. But I was always leery of those bulb plants. But they had just a massive amount of them.
Right.
Could you use the rose fertilizer on those?
You could.
What the hell they call it rose fertilizer for?
It's the way to sell it.
It's a marketing thing.
It is a marketing thing. I had a gentleman come in the other day, and he bought a bag of fertilizer, small bag of fertilizer, that said palm and hibiscus. And he goes, can I use this on anything? I only have one hibiscus. Can I use this on other stuff? It's like, yes. I said, they're just telling you that this has got extra nutrients on that palms and hibiscus. And I said, if you turn the bag over, it probably lists ixora and other tropical type plants that you can use it on, because it has certain nutrients that these plants really like and require at maybe a little bit higher. And a lot of that's the micronutrient, but it can be used on anything you've got blooming. Honestly, that's what it's for. And what the biggest thing when you're looking for something is, if you're looking for bloom, you don't want that first number to be high, because that first number is your nitrogen. That's the green part of the plant.
Right.
Phosphorus we took out of lawn fertilizers in
so it didn't
Florida
run into the
we
water.
Don't need it running into the water, and we made the nitrogen slow release in your lawn fertilizers. But in your flowering plants, even your palm plants, and that your phosphate is kind of necessary, because they take it up at a little bit different, and it's not such a large area. And then your potassium is a lot of your root growth as well, and general overall health of the plant. So when we're looking for a bloom booster type plant, fertilizer, we're looking for that center number to be the higher number. So your all-purpose fertilizers, your 666, 10, 10, 10, they're fine, but they're not going to necessarily encourage more bloom. But we don't put them on the lawn. But we use them in the flower beds. We use it in the vegetable gardens. You have liriopy. You have border grasses or ornamental grasses. They're great on those because it's just a balanced fertilizer. When you start to see some of the specialty ones, the rose fertilizers, the azalea fertilizers, palm fertilizers, what you're finding when you turn that bag over is the micronutrients. That list is not just the NPK. It then lists the magnesium, manganese,
and it
iron,
tells you
boron,
the plants it also work with.
And it also tells you the plants that this fertilizer really does benefit. But it can be used on anything. It's not going to kill any plant or make them suffer.
And it's not going to turn them into a rose.
It's not going to turn them right. It's not going to turn them into a rose. And there's certain additives you can do in certain plants, like say hydrangeas. Your hydrangeas are pink. You want to keep them pink. You're going to add some lime, usually on an annual basis, to try to keep that a nice bright pink. Your hydrangeas are blue, or maybe they were, but they're not quite as blue as they used to be. There's another product out there that you can put around them to make them or keep them a nice darker blue, and that's like a soil acidifier. So. And sometimes you can get away with using your azalea camellia fertilizer on those plants because that's for acid-loving plants. But don't use the azalea camellia if you want them pink.
Right.
So there's a few of them that are back and forth, but generally you're looking for it makes it easy to find what you're needing when you're going, oh, it says rose fertilizer.
Right.
I have
you
roses.
recognize
I have roses. I need a rose fertilizer. I have a run-of-the-mill garden. I need an all-purpose fertilizer.
I need a camellia fertilizer.
I need a camellia, so I'm going to find that ACR, that azalea camellia rhododendron fertilizer. And so that's it. Part of it's marketing, but part of it is also that they have tweaked the minor nutrients a little bit for the betterment of those plants.
I would be remiss if I didn't tell you the question my wife had.
You would.
I don't know about remiss, but in the doghouse for sure.
Oh.
As I was leaving this morning, I had forgot my glasses.
Okay.
And I said, "Go get my glasses for me, please." And she brought my glasses out. She goes, "Now you got to do something for me."
Right.
I go, "What?" She goes, "It's August." I go, "Okay, it's August."
Yeah.
She goes, "It'll be the end of September in less than 30 days."
Yep.
I go, okay, "Where are you going with this?" She goes, "Carol Ann's coming on today. Ask her what vegetables I need to get ready to put in the ground."
What I could put in the ground.
And you came in today saying we need to talk about planning.
Planning, right? We need to talk about plant. Yeah, we need to do that. And I've got another one that I had also that just came up with the other day. Vegetable garden. Right now we're at the end of August. It's what, the 20.
Cucumbers are gone. The bell peppers are still in good shape.
Bell peppers are going to keep going. Keep these
Right.
bell peppers happy and healthy. In the wintertime, you're going to protect them from frost. Get a couple tomato plants. Put some tomatoes in. Put some cucumbers back in. Squash. Right now, we're good with that. I call it second spring. We can put those things in.
Can we put zooks in?
You could go ahead and put some zucchinis in. Put some yellow.
I like
squash
yellow squash,
in.
but zucchinis.
Yeah, go ahead and get those. Put some more green beans in. Go ahead and get that done because they're going to grow right now while it's still warm. While we're still, while the nighttime temperatures are still up there, you're going to start. The tomatoes will begin to get to their maturity age. 60 days plus on tomatoes. By the time it starts cooling down, and then they'll actually set fruit. And because you think now, it's, what is it, the 24th of August. 30
October
days.
24th, September 24th, still be very warm.
But the nighttime
and October 24th.
But your nighttime temperatures will be down to that very low 70s, upper 60s, so your tomatoes will set fruit. And your squash and those kind of things are going to fruit for you here at this point. Come October, November, December, then we're going to look at putting in our carrots and our lettuce and find your onion sets and greens and cabbage and collards and all of those great greens that we have all winter long that we can grow those, and those are our winter crops: broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage. I think I said cabbage 2 or 3 times. Anybody know I like
How
cabbage?
difficult is it to grow asparagus here?
Asparagus is a little bit difficult because we don't have that dormancy. You've got to
good.
Yeah, it is. And you can find asparagus in the markets that is from Florida. I think that's another one of those things they grow up towards Hastings.
Right.
and
that's where the potatoes.
That's
people,
where the potatoes.
People
and
go,
cabbage,
why do they grow potatoes in Hastings? Because it has that area where it does get dormant. It gets cooler.
A little bit dormant, right? Because we put our potatoes in January. It's up north. Up north, people, a young lady might get married, and Grandma gives her a start from her asparagus bed to start her own. Here we don't. It doesn't usually get that old. So when you're ordering, if you're going to order asparagus crowns, that's how they sell them by the plant. It's called a crown. You want something that's already 2 to 3 years old.
Oh.
So that it's reaching a maturity that when you put it in the ground and get it started, that first year taking everything off, you're not going to allow it to, you're not going to harvest. You're going to let it go to fern. And then like the next year you can start to harvest. But you realize you don't have a lot. It takes a few years to start to really get a decent crop.
One of the hardest things that I had to learn, and I grew up in Florida.
Right.
But we didn't until I was 13. But we lived in, Jacksonville, Callahan. No, we didn't.
Yeah.
My grandparents up in Jersey and all had
gardens.
Right,
but
we didn't have much.
Right.
And so I didn't know a whole lot about it. Then I got to Georgia and I went to work for D-Fair Farms and everything.
Okay.
And then I get back to Florida and I'm talking about how when we put peanuts in the ground, and when we put onions in the ground, and when we do that stuff in Georgia, completely different calendar-wise than when you do it in Florida.
Yeah, you're moving that back quite a bit. If you think about it,
peanuts go in the ground in Georgia in late January.
That's about and that's early.
No, late January, early February is when
February. That's pushing it because usually I want to say 1st of March.
We start making the bed. Yeah, you're probably in the ground.
Yeah.
But we start making the beds and all in February.
Ready. Right. It's getting them ready
and then we turn them over in July.
Yeah. Yeah, you're looking at, if you're wanting boiled peanuts, you're looking at 90 to 110 days on your peanuts.
Right. We turn them over in July. But onions we put in the ground in the wintertime.
We grow short day onions. Same in Georgia. The short to medium day.
We grow great onions in Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
We grow these things called vidalias.
Yeah, we grow some pretty good.
And by the way, that's how it's pronounced. You say it.
Vidalia.
No, it's Vidalia.
Vidalia.
Yeah, it's Vidalia. It's not Vidalia.
There's no L in there.
It's Vidalia.
Vidalia. I try to correct myself. Well, and actually, St. Augustine has the St. Augustine sweet.
Yes, which is
again,
almost
it's another comparable.
It's very close to Vidalia.
Yeah.
People
and
think,
that's where the datil pepper comes from. Is St. Augustine.
People think that Vidalia, that it's a sweet onion and they don't make them anywhere else. They make the St. Augustine sweet is really close.
And if you're on the west coast of the United States, you get the Walla Walla.
The Walla Walla is a great onion too.
Another real sweet onion.
And, and when I say sweet onion, folks, I'm talking about
sandwich onion.
This good old boy here has peeled the onion in the field.
Yeah, and just ate it. Yeah.
Washed it off with some water. Sprinkled some salt on it, and that was lunch.
Yeah, there you go.
Get one about the size of a softball, it'll fill you up.
That's for sure.
And
plenty of water.
Wasn't kissing nobody after.
No.
But
But yeah.
That's why matter of fact, Matt Gibbs just walked in the building. Yeah. The other day, I was trying to kiss Matt Gibbs. He said, "You can't do it. I just had a Vidalia onion."
Can't do it. But no. Yeah, at this time of year, go ahead and put that, respring the garden. Maybe not quite as,
get your trellis ready for the beans and everything.
Get the, maybe not as high a volume because you want to leave space as that temperature cools to begin to put in.
Now, can you do it in the same place that your garden was in the spring?
You want to rotate that. You
really,
do? Yeah.
So if you got a planter box or something, how do you rotate it?
If you've got a planter box, you may just be really amending soil a lot, just because
remove
of
some
disease.
Soil, put some new soil
put some
in.
Fresh soil in. Throw that other soil out on the lawn in those bare areas or thin spots.
Because it doesn't hurt to do that.
No, not going to hurt anything on that. Put some fresh soil in, some fresh compost. Get that worked in. Get some tomatoes in, and I would get those tomato plants in right soon, just because they are cold sensitive. And look for the ones, if you can get a shorter day or a shorter length of time tomato, an early girl. Is one that takes, I want to say like 68 days. And you're harvesting tomatoes.
I know that people in their home gardens don't have a lot of things that strip the land.
Right.
So they have to redo. Because like in Georgia, when we do
You're
peanuts,
a whole
when we do peanuts, the next year peanuts didn't go in that field, onions went in that field.
So, right. Well,
because it would help rebuild the field.
Well, it was not just that, but any disease that might have been coming in to attack peanuts, you don't want to put peanuts back in because those diseases, you're going to build up a population and you can't get rid of.
We would run in peanut and tobacco fields because they drain tobacco and peanuts drain a field.
And so does corn.
Right. Well, we didn't grow a lot of corn in South Georgia.
Right.
But we would put soybean and onions to help
soybean's going to lock in nutrient. Onions a heavy feeder actually, but
it helps in peanut fields. Onions go good in peanut fields. They don't go good in
other
tobacco fields, but they work good in peanut fields for how they make the soil for peanuts.
And it makes your crops work. But at home, the best you can do, is do the best you can do, and realize that maybe one year you may have to skip a certain crop just because you can't. Because you had too much problems with it the year before.
We would take that bush hog, and it was the only tractor out of all the tractors we had out there on the farm. There was only 3 tractors that weren't enclosed. They were open air tractors, and all 3 of those tractors were the bush hog tractors that you had to go cut the tobacco stalks. And if you've ever been on the back of you've ever been on a John Deere tractor when it's slinging them tobacco stalks, some of them will come back and smack you in the back of the head. They'll get you.
I was gonna say.
But then you cut all the stalks down, and then they'd come back and they'd hair under the stalks, and they'd come out there with the plows and hair it all under. Get it all part of the dirt.
And let that break down for and that was good. So get on that and summer right now, respring it, and then but be prepared to start your fall.
But your planter box, you need to empty the dirt and get some new dirt.
At least put at least take some of that out. Depending on how big your box is, that can get pretty expensive. At least take a little bit out. Put some fresh compost
my neighbor's
in
got
there
my neighbor's got a 6 foot by he's got a 6 foot wide by 18 foot long box.
That's a lot of dirt.
That's a lot of dirt.
That's a lot of dirt. I mean, I would be more over.
He grows 2 trellises of green beans in that, though.
And it probably needs more soil because they do seem to lose soil every year. When we pull out plants, we pull them out. And just sometimes just perking that back up. You just do the best you can to rotate or say, I'm not going to plant this time of year with tomatoes. I'll wait till spring. I do great in spring, or the other way around. Spring tomatoes don't work, but I do well in wintertime. So
the in-ground type, the potatoes now and the carrots. They're coming towards the winter. That's when you go put them in the ground.
Those are looking at you're looking at more steady, cooler temperatures or getting cooler. Potatoes don't go in until about December.
Right.
December, January, February. Same way
Carrots.
with our onions. December, January, February, even November. Carrots, same kind of thing. Plant your carrots successively. Plant them every few weeks, and that way you can use some of them. You don't end up with a bushel basket of carrots that you now have to store, and because we don't have fruit cellars. So plant a little bit. Your lettuces, your greens, your cabbage. Don't plant unless you know you're going to have a big party. You're going to need a lot of coleslaw, or you're going to do a whole lot of ham and cabbage, or you're going to try to freeze it. Plant 3, 4, 5 cabbage. Wait a few weeks. Plant some more. You can plant these successively
because we have the advantage.
Harvest.
Because we have the advantage of having 2 warm seasons.
And we have an advantage that we've a shorter. Don't space them out too far, but 2 weeks isn't too much to space out. Say cabbage and broccoli.
That's crazy about Florida. We go from spring to summer, and then from summer to spring.
But spring, summer, spring, fall, winter, spring.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why you can have 2 growing seasons of all the green leafy vegetables and everything.
Right.
It's because of how our system is.
And a lot of that stuff will continue in through to as our spring. When we're getting ready to plant our tomatoes again in March, is that our cabbage and things like that may still be going a little bit longer. So
giving a rabbit something to eat, wonderful.
If you got one more broccoli in the ground, let it go to flower at that time.
You know what you need for the rabbits, don't you? Crossman 760 pellet gun.
I was going to say barbecue sauce.
Crossman 760 pellet gun. Pump it 10 times, it's power for 22. Pew! Watch a rabbit's head go. Hey, shouldn't have been eating that carrot. Shouldn't have been eating that carrot.
Then you take care of them. Put them on in the stew pot.
I've never done that myself with a Crossman.
But you've heard it.
With a Crossman 760 pellet gun. I've never done that myself.
No.
I would never do that.
No,
never.
Never.
I'd knock a squirrel out of a tree from 35 feet, don't we?
But the one other thing I wanted to get to, and we can talk more about it next week, is our holiday plants. I know it's August. I know it's
But you got to start thinking about those.
If you want those poinsettias and those Christmas cactus to start to color up and bloom for you at the holidays, you're going to start planning for that. Here comes September. You're going to get them getting to where they're in the dark for their certain period of time. So those porch lights, or moving them into that spare bedroom that nobody's using right now.
And these are the poinsettias you already have.
That you already have. Right.
You're not going to find them in stores right now.
Not until about November. You won't find them, and you won't find the Christmas cactus either till about November. But if you've got them potted, or you've got them planted in the landscape, it's watching where those porch lights, or those lights in that room where you read, how that's shining out onto those areas. The Christmas cactus in the pot, if it's been sitting out
in the window
or something like that, I mean, that's fine, so long as in the evening, so long as it's not in that same sitting room that you're in with the lights on while you're watching TV. It's going to need to go by itself for a little bit. So we're going to, probably the last fertilization would be about now, and then we're going to start to withhold water in September. We're going to start to, when it starts to be darker at night, it needs to be dark where they are, because they need that darkness.
That's how they get their color.
That's how they color up. They are day length sensitive. Same way we just talked about short day onions. These are short day bloomers, so they need that nighttime. Like the poinsettias, the Christmas cactus are those kind of plants. So think about it. Think about them that way, and we'll talk more about them.
We'll talk more about that next week. With the dryness we got going.
Yeah. Gonna have to irrigate, probably.
Gonna have to turn sprinklers back on.
Put those sprinklers on. If you're on a system that's got the meter on it, it'll turn itself on when it needs to. But yes, if you're dry, don't let the landscape get water stressed.
And I don't have an irrigation system. I got
you got that right.
And what I'm going to do is this Saturday, if it doesn't rain any sizable amount, this Saturday I'm going to water the grass.
Right.
And all the plants that are around.
That, yes.
And then I'll let it go for 5 or 6 days.
Right. We're still at a point that we can still get some rain. We may get some brief showers, and even if it's a brief shower, a lot of times that's enough just to keep the landscape going. I had to turn and I've got a little timer for a sprinkler that I have in my garden, and I just put it back onto auto. And so it comes on its days a week for its 45 minutes, and it runs it, so that way it comes on when I'm getting up in the morning.
In another 3-4 weeks, as it cools down, the dew's going to start taking its place.
Right, it'll start to, and hopefully, we've got that Sahara dust has been blowing in. There are a couple more tropical systems that look like there's got some percentage possibilities of coming up. May bring us some more rain. So just pay attention to it. Your shrubs and things like that should be doing okay. But again,
my grass is doing amazing.
The grass may still need a little bit of water.
Right.
We haven't had any measurable rain in the last 10 days.
5-6 days. So that's why on Saturday I'm going to water.
Saturday,
but it looks great. He just cut it yesterday. It looks fantastic.
It looks beautiful. Yeah.
No yellow spots, no brown spots.
Good.
But I know they're around the corner if we don't put some water on it, or if we don't get some rain.
Exactly.
And the forecast doesn't say that we're getting rain anytime soon.
It's not looking too good for rain right now.
Carol Ann Baldwin, she is the master gardener, Carol Ann Baldwin. She joins us every Tuesday here on WOCA. Carol Ann, tell people where to find you on Facebook and where to find you if they want to come and put a face to the
if they want,
voice.
And I've had some listeners do that, and I thank you. It's been fun. The In the Garden Facebook group page. If you're on there, question on there. I do check it during the show to see. You can put
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
It's time for From the Ranch headlines on the Southeast Agnet.